Welcome, bet riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laid Back Bike Report. Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to have you with us on today's show. Let me tell you what we got coming up. We will have Honza as usual, not exactly with the news report, but we're going to talk about recumbent news between he and I, and we're looking for some information from you guys, some of your opinions about how you get that. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. Our main segment today, I think, is a really interesting one. It's Armin Ziegler. Armin is a Swiss gentleman who rides his Velomobile many places around the world, tours everywhere. This year, this spring, he was in Greece and had his Velomobile confiscated by the police, and he was personally arrested. So many of you already know about the story. It's been on Facebook. It's been on Recumbent News, but we're going to talk to Armin, find out all the details, and he's actually with us live today. So if you have questions for Armin, please put them in the chat, and we will have him respond to it. So we're glad to have Armin with us. And then we're going to finish up with a short segment by Larry Seidman, who has he was involved in a couple of events in Colorado recently with adaptive cyclists, which was kind of cool. So Larry will tell you all about that near the end of the show. In the meantime, let's have a look and see who the crew members are today. There we go. Armin just went away, but that's fine. So, Colorado Springs, as I just mentioned, it is Larry Seidman doing the directing today. Hi, Larry.
Hi, guys.
And down in Raymond, Mississippi, there is Trey Burgoyne handling the media for us today. Glad you're with us, Trey.
Howdy, folks. Glad to be here.
And the recumbent newsman himself, it's Honza. Honza, I'm glad you could join us today.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So with that, let's, if I could tell you a little bit about how you can participate in the show with us today. As I mentioned earlier, the live chat is available to you on both YouTube and Facebook. So please put your questions in there, make your comments. You can chat amongst yourselves, of course, as usual, if you like. And let us know where you're watching from. We're always happy to know that. So if you want to support the Laid Back Bike Report, and we hope you will, there's a couple ways you can do it. Of course, you can like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to us right here on YouTube. And you can click that little white eye up there. It'll take you to the laidbackbikereport.com website, where you can find out more about past shows, what's coming up. You can even buy a hat and support us in that way. And you can also click on the Patreon button and become a Patreon supporter like all these fine folks have done. We really appreciate that. It can be done for as little as $1 a month. Now, also supporting the Laid Back Bike Report are our amazing corporate sponsors. Let me tell you who they are. First of all, it is TerraCycle, makers of exquisite recumbent parts and accessories for your bent. Don't just trike, adventure trike. TerraCycle's racks and bags are like having a personal Sherpa, but without the questionable ethics. And Trailside Trikes, a fine recumbent trike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida. And TerraTrike Green Speed Trikes. Your vision, whatever it is, TerraTrike has a trike to take you there. And Greenspeed cutting-edge designs create performance through Aussie ingenuity. And Laid Back Cycles, the top USA dealer for TerraTrike and the premier source for Catrike, Ice, and Greenspeed. We give you the freedom to ride. And Bicycle Man, where you can find new and used recumbent trikes and bikes. We're located in Alfred Station, New York, and have over 100 bents in stock and ready to try. So why wait? Come, ride, then decide. And AZUB. We unveiled our new visual identity at CycleCon this year. We're now shining out into the world with a neon yellow and blue color scheme and the words, "The Joy of Riding." Test ride one of our trikes with the new small A trike track logo, and you'll feel that joy instantly. And Recumbent PDX. With a 150 trike inventory, Recumbent PDX is the West Coast only cat trike megastore. We have over 20 trikes on our showroom floor just waiting for you to test ride through our beautiful Portland neighborhood. Call or email to schedule your test ride today. And Connecticut Yankee Peddler. We feature multiple brands of trikes, including electric assist models. Test rides and Southern Iowa hospitality are always available at our megastore in Cheriton. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Larry, let's bring Honza on board here. And Honza and I have been having a bit of a discussion offline here about how you guys consume Recumbent News. As you guys know, Honza has recumbent.news. It's a really great website. Lots of great content on it. Sometimes we coincide. We put things, we cover some of the same things. This month, as it turned out, coincidentally, we didn't even know about Armin being on both of our platforms at pretty much the same time. But it's all good. But with that in mind, Honza had some questions, and we'll see if we can do maybe a little poll. Honza, you want to describe that a little bit better for them, and I'll work on this?
Well, okay. This time it was really that I posted the story from Armin right before this show, and I didn't know, my bad, that it is going to be the one interview today. So we were all like not really whatever said, or kind of surprised with Gary that happened. And because it is kind of that season right now with any recumbent news, we thought that we would, kind of ask you what are your how do you, yes, as Gary said, how do you consume the content? So we would be interested in what kind of channels and news
Yeah, let me help you out here, Hansa.
Yes,
I copied from what you had sent me on Facebook Messenger here. So we've not used a poll here before, folks. So if you're on the live chat, please go ahead and give us your opinion. Let's see how this works. I'm going to see if this gets put up here somewhere.
Trying something new is always tricky.
So
especially live.
Guys, so okay. I'm trying to see where they see this. I'm looking at on my StreamYard, and I don't see it, but I also have the YouTube chat up, and I'm getting some answers here. Let's see, but I don't know.
You're getting answers, but you don't know from.
But I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest. So, all right. Nonetheless, the question. Yeah, it's popping all around. I may not. Oh, here we go. So, which recumbent channel / news do you follow regularly? Was Hans's question, and the 4 choices, and we can only put 4 choices on here as a poll. And this is not fair because, number one, I put Laid Back Bach Report first. And, of course, you guys are all watching the show. So thank you for those of you. This is not a popularity contest, but we're really interested in knowing what you watch. Laid Back Bach Report, recumbent.news, Bent Rider Online, and Utah Trikes has a wonderful YouTube channel as well. So, and we're getting some answers here. So what I'd like to do, Hansa, let's go on to some of the other questions you may want to ask. And I may put them up as polls too during the show. And when we get to the end of the show in the announcements section, we'll come back and look at these and see, and we can talk about it again. Does that make sense to you, Honza?
Yeah. Do you think they can click other more options than just one answer?
They can pick up to 4 answers.
Up to 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll work on, and maybe Hans and I will talk during the segments here, and we will put up the other chats. But you want to quickly mention what other kinds of ideas that you're interested in finding?
Yeah, there was a how do you look at, if there are the same topics like today, say we have Armin being interviewed within the Laidback Bike Report, and I published about the Armin story on Friday, I guess. So whether it's, whether you even read it or watch it, whether it's still interesting, whether you feel it's kind of additional information in one or the other, or whether it's redundant or even annoying, whatever, because it's quite often if we talk about even about the shows like the Spezi show or the CycleCon, we are still a small world and covering the same event. So whether that is still of an interest for you to read it and watch it on both or even more platforms. And then the third kind of question was, what kind of topics do you like most, or do you like in general? That would be travel stories, tech news, do it yourself projects, show covers, sport reports, maybe something from recumbent history, but that was not much, nor not in Laidback Bike Report nor recumbent news, but it might be of an additional push for us. Yep. Also, there was a tips for beginners, whether that would be an interest for some.
Yeah, I get that question a lot about doing a show with tips for beginners, so maybe we could look into that as well. Mark Feldman, I popped this up on the screen a minute ago. So just we're learning as we go, guys. So yes, you can only vote for one choice, but we have the chat open. So and I've already got a few people telling me other things. So vote, but feel free to put in the chat also. I'll go through these and we can look at these later too. If you have some other ideas, comments about this, you watch all, everything that we put up here. You have some other choices that we don't have on the poll. Yeah, please pop them into the chat and we'll take a look at all that stuff too. Sound good?
And if you watch later and the chat is not open anymore, you can put it into comments, because I am really interested in that, and I will definitely go back and read the comments.
Right, and the vast majority of people are going to watch afterwards. We're really glad to have you guys that are with us now. But yeah, that's a great
even point. A week or month later, I will definitely come back and watch it, read it.
That sounds great. Great idea, Honza. Thank you for bringing that up, and I'll be interested to see all this too. So I'll see you a little bit later on, and we'll get back and take a look at some of the responses. So thanks, Honza.
Okay.
And all right, guys. So let me go back here and jump then into our main segment. I think I pretty much introduced it a little bit earlier. That's Armin Ziegler, and a great story, really intriguing. We're going to have Armin on, like I say, afterwards to answer your questions. So as you watch this and you have questions for him, pop them into the chat and we'll go with that as well. So with that, Larry, let's see Armin's story. Well, guys, I'm very excited to be here with Armin Ziegler. And Armin has a compelling story to tell us about him and his Velomobile. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail than that, because Armin's an interesting fellow who has done a lot of things with bikes and recumbents over the years. Armin Ziegler, welcome to the Laidback Bike Report.
Thank you.
So, Armin, let's start out by sharing some of your personal details, if you don't mind, with our audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, what you've done.
Well, I'm actually usually in Zurich, but now after retirement, we swap between Zurich and Neuchâtel, the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Zurich is the biggest city in Switzerland. And let's say Zurich, that's where you work. And Neuchâtel, that's where you enjoy life.
Yeah,
Now-
from the looks of the beautiful chalet home behind you, it looks like you are enjoying life. So
we do.
You were telling me this is a very this is an old place that you live.
Yeah, it's a very old house. We got it about 20 years ago, and it is 300 years old. So many people have been living here. It's so cozy. And I think it has to do that so many people have been here and have enjoyed life here. It's a special house.
I know that you have owned a number of recumbents and taken them very many places, and we have some pictures here to share as well. So let's do that now.
Okay, this is the first recumbent I bought. That's in 1990. I almost stumbled in an exhibition over this bike, and I tried it out, and it was a revelation. Bicycling without pain and seeing the mountains, not just having to look at the street, really enjoying the landscape. This picture here is in Italy. It was one of the first tours I made. That was 1990, yes. That's my first. It's a Fateba long bike. At this time, they used to be this way. All the recumbents, like the Radius or Fateba and others, were built this way.
Yes, long wheelbase and under-seat steering, yeah?
Exactly. I still have it. I still enjoy it.
All right. Let's move along here. So what do we have here?
That is a really special bike. It's a Rans Screamer. That's a bike my wife and me, we bought to really make big tours and, well, I have to say, to make life really very interesting. We started in 2000 and exactly 2000. We made the Pacific coast, starting in Portland, going to the Pacific, and then all along the coast, we arrived after 3 weeks in California, in San Francisco. It was one of the most wonderful bicycle tours we made together. We used this Run Screamer for many tours later on. We have been 3 times in Iceland with this Run Screamer. Then one of the bigger tours were crossing the Andes. We flew to Mendoza and then went westwards, all up to a level of almost 3,000 meters. That was one of the really most difficult tours we made, but we really enjoyed it. And then after a few days, we made the way back to Mendoza. The picture here is in south of France. It's a famous gorge. It's called the Gorge de Verdun. And here we made a short tour. We still use the bike. 2 weeks ago, we made it over the Gotthard Pass. And it's just a nice way to travel. A big advantage is you always arrive at the same time.
That is true. And as I told you before we started, Armin, my wife and I also rode a Rand Screamer for many years. May I ask you, I think in this picture, did you have S&S couplers to take that frame apart?
Yes, that's very important.
Yeah.
Very
so to fly with it, you broke it apart then and reassembled?
Exactly. You put it in 2 bags. This way, it's very easy. If a mountain is too steep, you put in the bags, take the next bus, this official bus, which go up the mountains, and then you only have the easy part going downwards. But usually, we do it both ways.
Of course. All right. Let's move along here. Look at this beautiful landscape. What do we have?
Yeah, that is also on a very high path, to be honest, way up, which was very steep. It's a 4-car path. We used the bus. And then from the 4-car path, we traveled in 4 days to the Lake of Geneva. The bike itself is a street machine. I bought it when, well, that was also in the year 2001. I bought it because it included everything. It had a nice compartment to store the luggage. It had disc brakes. It had suspension, everything you could wish for. But that's something I found out only later. The whole thing is too heavy. I still have it. I love it. But if it's steep going up, it's really hard. It's 21 kilo. Today you get a Velomobile with this weight.
Right. That's a whole different thing. And we're going to get to that a little bit later here. All right, let's move along here. And now we have another American-made bike. What do you have here?
That's right. Yes. You know, after I found out that every gram counts, I said, let's buy a really light recumbent. And then I decided to buy the Baguetta Aero 2. And this is not only the most beautiful recumbent, I think, it's lightweight, 9 kilo, very comfortable, and very fast. So I really enjoyed it. We made many tours, but then because I like also to cross deserts and go over mountains, I found for many tours, this is not the right bike. And in the next picture, you see from the same family, also from the Baguetta family, the Giro 20. And if the road is really rough, that's the right bike. This picture is in California. There was, I guess it was 2000 and can't remember, 12 or 14. We made a tour from from San Francisco to Los Angeles with a friend who had a Bella, also from Baguetta, and me with the Baguetta Giro 20. And then we started in San Francisco, and 2 weeks later, very leisurely, we arrived in Los Angeles. It's a wonderful bike, sturdy for rough roads, and terribly comfortable. Nothing aches. It's a pleasure. This is a picture. Probably the bridge is well known to everybody, the most famous bridge in whole United States, I guess. Now, that is on a tour through Morocco. Morocco is wonderful to travel with a bike. It's a wild country, lots of mountain. I would go there again and again. It's not only the nature. Morocco is in some cities like going back 200 or 300 years back. You go into these old cities and you feel time hasn't changed for 300 years. People live there. They enjoy life. Everything is made by hand. It's very narrow streets. It's a real experience. And then we decided that on two wheels, that's not enough. There must be something on 3 wheels. Not that 2 wheels is not good enough. It's just a new experience on 3 wheels. What we found out with the 3 wheels is it's great fun. You really enjoy the rides much more, but you don't reach the speed you are used with a normal bike. So you have to change the attitude. And once you have changed the attitude, that everything goes a bit slower, it's wonderful. This tour we made in 2015, I guess. We took the 2 trikes from HP, which can be folded. We put them in bags, could easily put it on the plane, and then we drove to the Death Valley and crossed the Death Valley very slowly, 50 kilometers per day, and it was wonderful.
And you added a little something to help you along, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right. I had the impression that sails on a trike, that must be the ultimate thing. And with the wind, you don't have to do something, you just go on. Now, the result is maybe not that clear. No, it's clear, but it's not straightforward, perfect. The sail you see here is a 2 square meter sail, and even the wind is strong, it doesn't help so much. You reach speeds of 15 miles per hour, which is not bad, but it's not really fast. Now, but if you would add a bigger sail, I have another sail with 4 square meter, then it's downright dangerous. Then you reach a high speed, but it's much too dangerous. So I've given up this idea. I guess on a flat surface where you have no traffic, that's perfect. A big sail of 4 square meter, but on the road, it's just too dangerous.
All right. So now let's move on to a third type of vehicle. What is this?
Yes, that is an exciting project. A group of students at the ETH, they made as their final project a tandem or a velomobile for 2 persons. But it's actually a streamliner. It has 2 wheels. So the steering person is on the upper level, and on the lower level there is one. He doesn't see anything. He just pedals. And the goal was to break the record, which was at this time 85 kilometers per hour over 1 mile. And this group, they made everything right. They broke the record and reached 90 miles per hour. Not 90 miles, 90 kilometers per hour. My company, who is a small engineering company specialized in structural dynamics and vibration measurements, we were one of the sponsors of this project. And that's how I actually came in contact with velomobiles. After I've seen that, I said to myself, that's something I have to have also.
And?
That not as big as the one, but at least as beautiful. This is my velomobile I bought from Weiss. It's an Evo R. I bought it in my last year when I had my company. You see the company name, Ziegler Consultants. And if you can read it, it says, Aus Freude an der Dynamik. Don't know how to translate that properly into English. Enthusiastic about dynamics. And it is actually something which goes for my work in my engineering office, but also for this velomobile, because there what counts is the aerodynamics. In my work, usually it was the structural dynamics. So there was a nice transition from my work into the time when I was retired. By the way, this photo is on the Côte d'Azur. It is a wonderful area. You can travel for hours, all these rugged coasts, endless, from Nizza to Genova. That was one of the tours I made about 3 or 4 years ago. And that was also a very nice tour. That was actually when I first thought of going to the United States. But then I found out that on the Isle of Man, they have a very interesting race. It's the Isle of Man CC. I guess most people know the Isle of Man TT, which is the Isle of Man Tourist Trophy with the motorbikes, where you have a 60-kilometer round course for these heavy motorbikes. Very dangerous thing. 40 years ago, I was there with my own motorbike, but not for racing, just for looking at. And now, with older, I found a more sensible way to travel and to take part in a race. And the picture shows my velomobile, and I guess many people know him, Ian Perry, on his DF. He made the tour around the island of 60 kilometers 3 times with an average speed of 30 kilometers per hour. For me, it was sufficient. One round of 60 kilometers, and my average speed was just 20 kilometers per hour. But I really enjoyed it. And, well, it's not the happiest picture from my tour around Spain and Portugal. But never mind. It was a fantastic tour. The two policemen, didn't quite agree with my way of driving. In Spain, bicycles have to use the space right of the white line. But there you find all the nails and all the debris. So I was coasting down this road with 50 kilometers per hour in the middle of the road. And they didn't like it. And they charged me 200 euros. It's a heavy fine. Well, they said if I pay at once, it costs only 100 euro. Okay, I paid them, but I kept them talking to me. They explained what they wanted because I wanted to use this time to learn a bit more Spanish. And for 1 hour, we discussed whether this is right or not. Then they fined me. Of course, I had to pay it anyway, but it was an interesting experience, and I learned a lot of Spanish in this hour.
Right. And now that picture with the police in Spain kind of foreshadows the story that we're going to really focus on a little bit later here. Another encounter with the police in a different European country. But we're going to get back to that in just a minute. So I understand from talking to some folks who know you a little bit that history is important to you. You're kind of a buff. So I'm wondering if the history of possible places to tour plays into the decisions you make about where you go.
Yes, it does. But the most important thing, I would say, for a long tour, it must, what do you call it? It must have a goal and it must have a line to follow. If you just cross a country and say, well, let's go this way, it starts to be difficult. But if you know exactly, I'm following the traces of this person, or I want to visit all the towns the Greeks have built along this coast, then the journey gets a higher purpose. As a good example, I think, is the journey I made last year to Sicily. I have written a report about it, and the title was La lunga strada di sabbia. Why this title? Pasolini, when he was probably 30 years old, he took his Fiat 1100 and traveled all along the coast. It was a paid vacation magazine, paid him to travel, to make this journey and write a report about La lunga strada di sabbia, to show a little bit where people in Italy make holidays, how the beaches are. And so he traveled all down to the most southerly point of Sicily. So I decided I will do the same, and I will see what has changed in these 70 years between his journey and my journey. And this gave the journey a higher purpose.
Very nice. Well, and you also decided at some point that you wanted to document your journeys. And so you created a number of travel blogs that you have on a website in which you talk about and write very creatively about the places that you have seen. And I think the number of pictures involved. Give us an idea of your blog and what it's like.
Well, actually, the blog is accessible for everybody. There is a link. Maybe you can show this link somewhere that everybody who is interested can look it up. There is no password or anything. You can really read these stories on this website. The way they are created is actually this way. Every evening, I write 3 or 4 sentences about the most interesting things. I make a few pictures, and then back at home, I really rewrite everything and try to enhance it. And all the things which I couldn't find on the way, I will look up. And then I write a report about the whole story, the whole journey. And so it's something you can read and enjoy. It's not just a diary. I try to make it a bit more, to give it a more content so that you get a lot information about history.
Yeah, and you also have a very creative way of doing it, because in many instances you tell your story, the story of your tours, with 2 voices: your voice and also the voice of what you're writing. Tell us a little bit about where that idea came from and how you do that. It's very interesting.
Yes, I mean, when you are on the way alone, you realize that it's even more important than my person is the Velomobile I'm riding. And so the Velomobile is the second person on these journeys. The Velomobile, I had this yellow Velomobile, has the name Eva. And he is also a person in this journey. And it's a constant dialogue between me and this Velomobile. And the Velomobile is allowed to say things which I probably wouldn't say.
I will put the link to your blog in the description below here, Armin, so folks will be able to do that. All right, let's carry on now to bring us a little bit more up to date. Here we go. So here is the latest beloved vehicle. Tell us a little bit about Alva.
Yeah, this Velomobile I got from a colleague in Germany. There is a very unique company who produces special Velomobile parts. And one of the owners, he had this Velomobile, but he wanted to have the newest one, so I could get this one. So he made the foiling, he made all the nice colors, except the picture of Alva, he made already. And then I bought this Velomobile from him, took it to Switzerland, and my wife said, but Alva is a stupid name. I had to agree. Alpha 7, that's not a name for a Velomobile. So my wife said, hey, why isn't this Velomobile called Alva? And she found also a lovely picture. And we have this picture made on a paper which can be glued on. And so this Velomobile has a lovely picture and an appropriate name, Alva.
Nice. And this picture also shows the beginning of a tour, which ended up causing a bit of a stir in the Velomobile community. Certainly, an interesting interruption in your life as well. So maybe we can start, Armin, at the beginning of your tour to Greece. Tell us about what led up to that tour. Why did you decide to do it? And then let's start talking about it.
Yes. The idea was to make a tour around the Aegean Sea. And of course, it means I start in Neuchâtel, travel through the valleys, then I take the train through the Simplon Pass, then I arrive into Italy. On the second day, I was already in Varese. The third day led to Bergamo. By the way, this was the most terrible day because it poured down. Some of the roads were underwater, but not that I couldn't go through. But it's funny, on a Velomobile, it's not such a big problem. You are well protected. Of course, you get wet, but you also get wet when it's sunny because it's hot then. And so I reached Bergamo, There I put my Velomobile in the hotel, and they said, oh, great, leave it in the reception. That can be used for advertising. And the next day, they made pictures, and they gave me food for the next day because they thought, well, I have to eat something on the way. So they were so kind. Anyway, the tour went on. I arrived in Verona. Then I reached Padua. In Padua, I was invited by a Greek friend for an evening meal, and he said something very interesting. He said, if you happen to have problems, just give me a call. I said, well, I never have problems, don't worry. So I went on, took the ferry to along the Dalmatine coast, and I arrived in the middle of the night in Patras. There I started, had to wait till the first ferry crossed the Gulf of Corinth, actually, yes. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, I started my adventure in Greece. I went along the Gulf of Corinth, beautiful morning. It was a bit misty. At 11 o'clock, it was already quite warm. Then I made it up to Amphissa, found a nice hotel. And then a day later, I arrived at the place where Leonidas, about 2,500 years ago, fought against the Persian army. And he actually and his 300 soldiers were killed there, but they stopped the Persians there. And actually, this battle, that is the Leonidas, exactly. And that's also the place where they fought against the Persian army. And you can say it's actually the moment where the Western civilization stopped the Eastern civilization to move towards the West. So you can say it's a beginning point of the Western civilization. Here we are already 2 days later. Lovely coast. I think this picture tells everything. It's a dream to travel with a Velomobile along the coast. It's not far from Thessaloniki and also not far from my last day in Greece.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your last day in Greece. This was not exactly the way the plan was going to go. So this is an important day. Tell us the story.
Okay, my hotel was on top of the mountain behind Thessaloniki. I traveled from the mountain pass down 500 meters very slowly. Brakes with the Velomobile are a bit tricky. You shouldn't go too fast. Have enough time to cool a little bit. Anyway, I reached the lake down in the valley. I went along this lake. It was flat. I made certainly for about 1 full hour, 40 kilometers per hour. It was easy driving. And I really was looking forward to another 2 weeks Velomobile driving along the Aegean Sea. Then I heard a siren. I said, okay, they will check what this is. I stopped, and it was in the beginning a very interesting discussion, but then I found out that they really meant to stop me for good. But I didn't believe it. Anyway, they said we have to transport your Velomobile to the next police station, which was about 20 kilometers. And I asked them, well, who is paying for that? And they said, well, that's no problem. So they just stopped the next delivery van. The driver had no choice. He had to open the delivery van. They moved my Velomobile in it, and he had to drive to the next city. But then he said, well, I'm not going this way. So we took the Velomobile out, and the police, they just stopped another car, and he had to stop, and we put my Velomobile in this delivery van, and finally we arrived in Asprovalta. And there was a long, long questioning. I had to fill in forms, and I was convinced that it was a misunderstanding and that at the end they will accept that this is legal and that I can go on.
Armin, I just wanted to maybe make a bigger point here. So you showed earlier a previous stop by police, and from my experience talking to so many Velomobile tourers, they all get stopped by police all the time, and almost always it turns out to be a pleasant stop, an interesting encounter with police who are just curious and maybe didn't know what was going on in that shell, and so they end up understanding. It turns out to be a quick encounter, and you're on your way. But this turns out to be something very different. Now, I actually even talked to my friend Alva from Sweden, who tours all around. I don't know if you know Alva.
I know his report.
Yes, and so he owns a shop there where he sells recumbents as well. But he has been stopped many times. He sent me even a couple pictures when I talked to him about doing this thing, where he has encountered police. They're all friendly. They take pictures of each other, and then he's on his way. But as I said, this turned out to be very different, and it shocked me when I heard your story. And clearly you were shocked too. So let's carry on. Tell me what happened after you were taken to the station.
Yeah, okay. They explained me. Well, we had a long discussion, of course. And at the end, they said, you have to take a lawyer. Then I knew, oops, that's really getting serious. So I phoned my friend who said, in Padua, if you have a problem, just give me a call. So he said, yes, my brother, he is a lawyer in Athens, and I'm sure he can solve the problems. And this this brother in Athens, he had a long discussion with the police, but he couldn't achieve much. They said, this bike, this Velomobile stays here. The only thing he could achieve is that the Velomobile is not going to be stored at the police, but in the house of the lawyer. And the lawyer had to promise that Armin is not going to take it away.
Armin, could you tell us, because I don't know that it's clear yet, what did they charge you with? What actually was the infraction? What did you do wrong? What did they tell you?
That is a very interesting question. The police, they said, you have been riding on a road which is forbidden for bicycles. Then I said, but hey, there is a bicycle coming. Oh, that's only close to the village. This is allowed. Later on, I got a clear confirmation that this road, the national number 2, is open for bicycles. So this was really a lie. The second charge is velomobiles are not street legal in Greece. I told them there are international laws and they are legal in Greece, but they said, no. And at the end, the police said, you see, we cannot do much. There is a judge in Thessaloniki, and the judge is waiting for the police report, and then they will decide. So they wrote the police report, and the judge said, no, this Velomobile stays in Greece. I had to sign that I will never, ever use this Velomobile again on the streets of Greece.
But they confiscated your Velomobile on top of this, right? There was no procedure for retrieving the Velomobile as far as that goes?
And now that starts to be very exciting. I thought that about 2 weeks later, we'll find out this was totally wrong and I can't get it again. And, well, perhaps I should finish what happened on this day. The policemen, they were always very friendly. They were also embarrassed that they have to do that. And they said, now we have to go to the main quarter of the police in Thessaloniki to take your fingerprints, to make photos on everything, like a real criminal. And on the way, I said to them, but hey, is there a flight going to Zurich? And they checked that, yes, we do have 3 hours left. So they switched on the siren and the blue light, and with 160 kilometers per hour, we drove to the headquarters. There we quickly made all the fingerprinting and all this. And then we traveled also with red light, with a blue light and siren to the airport, and I just made it in time to the plane. Now, back in Switzerland, I had to wait. After 3 months, I got the answer that the district attorney has not formulated the charge against me. So I don't know what they charged me for. He didn't.
Yeah, this is craziness. All right, let's pinpoint some times here, because maybe we haven't made that clear either. When exactly was this that you were touring and were arrested and had the Velomobile confiscated? When was this?
So that was on the 25th of May.
The 25th of May. And now here we are nearly into November, and things are still very much up in the air. We're gonna come back to what your next steps are, but I want to take one more step back. You had sent me this picture, and we haven't really talked about this, but you also suspect that there was something going on even before you were stopped, and that some people that may have encountered you and taken pictures. Tell me the story here. What do you think happened as far as what led up to you being stopped?
Yes, that's actually what the police told me, that so many people in Thessaloniki have seen me, made videos of me, and posted it. I don't know where. This example here is the Thessaloniki news. And somehow these videos ended up on the desk of the district attorney. Well, they didn't call it district attorney, they the judge. The judge then decided that is far too dangerous and gave order to all the police cars that they had to chase this Velomobile and stop it and confiscate it. So it's actually these posts in the social media which actually made the end of my journey.
So what you're saying is you don't believe it was just a coincidence that the police happened to stop you that day. They, in fact, had orders to find you, and they did, and then followed the judge's order. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That is sure.
Oh, my gosh. All right. That's unbelievable. You know, I'm involved with the recumbent and velomobile community quite a bit. And I found them always to be quite supportive of folks who have various sorts of trouble. Have you encountered any other of the velomobile or recumbent community? Have they been supportive of you once you've told your story?
Oh, yes. You know, I put my stories always in the Velomobile forum from Germany, and there was a lot of help. But you see, there's not much that can be done. It was more mental support. But with the situation in Greece, there's nothing you can do in the moment. There is one small hope which I have, and this is in Athens, there is an ombudsman like in many other countries. And I have now made a complaint to the ombudsman, and my complaint has now a number, which means it's now on the list. And there is a hope that the ombudsman will intervene at the office of the district attorney. But the outcome, I don't know.
Okay, so we're hoping to get the Velomobile back. But one other concern I have: so are the charges against you still viable? If you go to Greece, are you liable to be arrested?
Nobody talked about that. As long as I don't touch this Velomobile, I'm free.
Unbelievable. All right. So right now your hopes are kind of pinned on this ombudsman and maybe that, and you're just waiting. The latest information you have from them is, or from your lawyer, I think you told me, is what, to be patient?
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess you're a patient guy. So all right. Now you have some plans. You already had plans, I think, to
Yes.
continue touring. And
Sure.
I'm tell me what your plans are for the future, and how you may have to modify those plans because of what's happened.
Yeah, for many, many years, my plan was to go once to the United States and make the southern tier. That means making the tour from Florida, where I have some friends, to Los Angeles, where I have also some friends, to make this tour of some 3,000 miles with a Velomobile. Luckily, I have two Velomobiles, the Eva, the yellow one, and the Alva, which is now in Greece. So if it really takes so long to get my Alva back, I will make the tour, the southern tier, which I will make next spring with the yellow Velomobile. And that is something I'm really looking forward to.
Right. Well, it'll be exciting to have you here in the U.S., where we hope you would have better luck than what you had in Greece there. So I guess the final question I would have, you probably have already answered this. So because of this incident, I'm wondering if it has changed your viewpoint about touring.
Well, that doesn't stop me to go on touring. It's such a wonderful thing to be on the way with a Velomobile. And I think Greece is just a special case. No other country will react in this way. And I think also in Greece, what happened to me is an exception. Other people have traveled in Greece, had no problem. I had encounters in Greece with the police, and they were very friendly. On one place, they even gave me a strip, a band, which I should attach to my Velomobile so it's safer. So even police in Greece accepted it. But on this special occasion in Thessaloniki, the judge said no. Well, a little bit of bad luck.
Well, Armin, it's a shame that happened. We wish all of us that this gets resolved quickly. You get your cherished Velomobile back so that you can tour here in the U.S. next year. And I think with that, we're going to probably leave it there. I thank you so much for sharing this story with all of my audience here in the Laid Back Bike Report. Any final words?
Well, final words. It's something I wish that everybody would try out, to travel long distances with a Velomobile. I always say it's a way to a very deep happiness.
Right. Well, I think that shows on your face. So, Armin, thank you so much again for joining us today. We wish you all the best, and we hope to catch up with you again soon with a good result on that terrible incident in Greece. Thank you.
Thank you also. Bye-bye.
Well, guys, there is Armin Ziegler with us live. Armin, thanks for coming on the show live to answer questions. How are you doing?
Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Good, good. So, yeah, we've got some comments and questions. I thought maybe we can have a look and go through these. Okay, first of all, about the name Alva. We have a comment here, or actually a question from the Congratulations channel. Did you get this from the anime series Kino's Journey?
No, actually, the name was given by my dear wife. She said that is the appropriate name for this Velomobile. Of course, it's derived from the original name, Alpha 7. But it's so much nicer to have a personal name. And Alva is Norwegian or Swedish, I can't remember, and it means in German Elfe, this fairy tale figure. And that's also how the picture came onto the Velomobile.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Here's one from Lush Swimmer. Take a big bus, drive from Switzerland to Greece, take your Velomobile home, so you never drive with the Velomobile on Greece roads. What about that for a solution?
That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all, because the lawyer has signed that he would not give out this Velomobile. He is responsible that this Velomobile stays in his office. But it's a good thing that it's not stored in a police building, it's stored at a lawyer's office, but still, it is confiscated.
Yep. All right. So this is a comment about the police. You kind of talked about this. Daryl Jordan says it sounds like the local police are corrupt by making up laws on the spot, but that's not exactly the way it happened, yeah?
No, it's not. It hasn't to do with corruption. The judge had to decide something. Well, I say something. It was Saturday afternoon, and he had to decide, should he keep this Velomobile or not. There was also some time pressure. But then he decided, no, let's be on the safe side, let's confiscate that. But this will cause problems, because confiscating property of someone else means something really severe. So we have to find out what are the consequences for Greece.
All right. All right. My buddy Jim Pratt in Copenhagen wants to know, how many recumbents slash velomobiles do you currently have? You went through most of them, but do you have a
Well, I think we are in the order between 10 and 15. My wife has a few. I have a few more, so we are between 10 and 15. And that's something you really need if you're serious.
Yeah, well, clearly you're very serious, Armin. And then a little follow up here for you. So, are you thinking about another Velomobile or recumbent at this point? Or are you pretty much happy with what you have and and what has been confiscated so far?
Yes, you see, the Alva is a special Velomobile. Jörg from this German company, I forgot the name, he is specialized in these special parts for velomobiles. He has made all the changes to make this velomobile extra light, extra efficient. So I don't want to lose it. I really want to stay with this one.
Good. All right. And then I think, let me get rid of that. The last one here from the Congratulations channel. If you're in the US, you can make a small detour and visit Gary. All right, well, I'm going to start with the answer to this. Although Armin is more than welcome to come and stay with us on his trip, I don't know, I'm going to be 1,000 miles away from where he's going to be at the time, unless I get a chance to go south and visit him. But we already talked about some of our friends that will be closer to where Armin's going next year, including Doug Davis and Trey Burgoyne, who will be in Mississippi and Texas there. Yeah, Trey, can Armin stay with you?
Sure, but
Not to put you on the spot.
Oh, we got plenty of
you. Thank you very much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I saw your route. You're we're in the middle of the state. You're going to be on the coast. We're not quite in the middle. We're in the Jackson, Mississippi area. So, but yeah, you're welcome.
That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to meet you then. Thank you.
Me too.
All right. Let's see here. Now, since I put those questions in the queue while you were talking during the report there. So, all right, this is just more of a comment from Semi-Recumbent 1. Greece is still a very undeveloped country, still in the fossil fuel growth era, and not near a modern post-industrial country prioritizing the environment. So I don't know if it was political that you got pulled over in some way. What do you think about that?
No, I think it's just a coincidence. It has, as I said, the judge had to decide on the spot, and the decision was wrong. That's clear. And of course, there is no law that bans velomobiles, but there is also no laws that allows explicitly velomobiles. Well, what can he do? So he did a decision which is against the Vienna Convention, but probably he didn't know anything about the Vienna Convention. But that's how it happened.
So maybe not a bike hating judge like James Lang thinks here, but more
No,
of
no, no,
an
no.
ignorance kind of issue, maybe. So, all right, guys, we're really hating on the judge here. I understand why. Okay. Oh, here's one from Alva Hendrickson. We talked about during your interview from Sweden. And he thinks you guys should have a Velomobile meeting and ride into Greece and get your Velomobile free. So like some sort of rescue mission, some Velomobile rescue mission. How do you think that's going to happen?
No, 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 no. We have to
Alva, I
make,
love the idea though. It's
well, take it the easy way. There is not a real time pressure, but it's still frustrating.
of course it is. All right, let me see. Yeah. Let's see here. Authorities prevaricate in southern European countries. We see it also in Spain constantly. So they may not always tell you exactly what's going on, which has kind of been your experience there, I guess. Yeah.
You know, the nicest country to travel with a Velomobile, for me, it's still Italy. I was a few years ago on the motorway, which is clearly against the law. The police was driving behind me. They stopped me and explained, well, that's not the right thing to do, but we will follow you to the next exit. And so they drove behind me. And then at the next exit, he overtook me and said, oh, this exit is not good for you because you want to go more south. We follow you 2 more exits with the blue light, and then you are safe. And you take this exit. That's much better for you. Isn't that great?
So they're more helpful, which I think has been most everyone's experience after being stopped in most places, after the police understand what it is that you are riding. So, yeah, that's great. Well, I think that's pretty much the questions that we have, Armin. So, I was going to ask you for an update, but I asked you before we started here today. Pretty
Yeah.
much what you said.
No news.
Yeah,
No news.
there's no news. So being patient is still the word of the day. But you promise you'll let me know as soon as there's any particular news. Maybe you
Sure.
can come back on and
Sure.
maybe we can have a happy ending for
Yes,
this story
definitely.
at some point for you. And I know everybody that's watching would like that too. So, Armin, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. We do wish you all the luck in the world getting that Velomobile back. So you take care and good luck with that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me here and have a nice time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So, all right, guys, that is Armin's story. Let's now finish up here with Larry, who had a chance to get into a couple of events and participate and help out with adaptive cycling in Colorado. He put together a short report on this, which I think we're going to watch right now. Larry?
Thanks, Gary. Even though my race season is done for the year, I still got in a few group rides before winter and snow hit in Colorado. On October 22nd, Achilles Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs had a crossover event and teamed up with the Army's world-class athlete program. Headquartered at Fort Carson Army Base near Colorado Springs, the WCAP is a military unit whose primary mission is to support soldiers in participating in sports at the Olympic and Paralympic level. Achilles Pikes Peak, the local chapter of Achilles International, partners up athletes with disabilities with guides so they may participate in athletic endurance events. These events feature mostly running and walking, but there are a few cyclists as well. We meet every Monday at the Colorado Running Company, and this particular Monday, we borrowed a trike and a few hand cycles from Angletech. Here are a few pictures of the ride. One guy who is an Olympic boxer or wrestler with a massive upper body took to hand cycling. Another group ride I attended involved the Denver area Craig Hospital. They specialize in the care of people who have sustained a spinal cord and/or brain injury. Once a year, they put on a riding fundraiser called Pedal for Power. This year, it was October 26th at High Plains Raceway east of Denver near Byers. Adaptive Adventures, an organization that provides outdoor sports opportunities to those with disabilities and/or injuries, offered trikes and hand cycles to anyone from Craig who came by their facility for a proper fitting a few days prior to the event. It's such a joy to see these people who have been cooped up in a hospital bed or struggling in recovery getting out on a trike or hand cycle. I was a buddy rider for Michael, who at this event rode a new personal best for miles and was one of the last ones on the track. So that's a few things I've been doing. Back to you, Gary.
So Larry has been busy. Thanks, Larry, for sharing that with us. And guys, if you have submissions that you'd like to make, maybe either pictures or short videos or whatever, some event or something you've been working on in the recumbent world, please share those. We'll see if we can get them on the air. You can send me an email at laidbackbikereport@gmail.com. Now let's talk about our sponsors before we get back to Honza and finish up with those polls. And we'll finish those up in just a second. But first, let me tell you about our sponsors, including TerraCycle. Are you tired of feeling like your bent was made for someone else? TerraCycle's handlebars and stems allow you to customize your ride so you feel like the superstar you are, even if you ride like a turtle. And Trailside Trikes. If you find yourself in Florida near the Withlacoochee Trail, check out Andrew's shop and his amazing crew. And TerraTrike Green Speed Trike, the best in leisure performance, adventure touring, electric, and portability. Wherever your adventure leads, TerraTrike will take you there. And Green Speed, where Ian Sims designs, bring performance through science and engineering. And Laid Back Cycles, the top USA dealer for TerraTrike and the premier source for CatTrike, Ice, and Green Speed. We give you the freedom to ride. And Bicycle Man, where you can find new and used recumbent trikes and bikes. We're located in Alfred Station, New York, and have over 100 bents in stock and ready to try. So why wait? Come ride, then decide. And AZUB. The team at AZUB is proud to offer the latest 5th generation Bosch Performance CX motor. The CX offers 250 watts of nominal power, but up to 600 watts of maximum power and 85 newton meters of torque. The optional dual battery system has an impressive range of up to 200 miles. The crew at AZUB is also excited about the possibility of linking the electronic shifting of the roll-off gearbox, something that no other motor but Bosch allows. To learn more about all this, visit azub.eu and feel free to configure your dream bike. And Recumbent PDX, CatTrike's West Coast Megastore. Schedule your test ride on trikes with pedal assist electric from both Bosch and Bafang, roll-off and schlumpf component groups, and adaptive builds. Experience the joy of CatTrike. And Connecticut Yankee Peddler. We feature multiple brands of trikes, including electric assist models. Test rides and Southern Iowa hospitality are always available at our megastore in Cheriton. All right, announcements. So yes, I've finally finished editing all the CycleCon 2024 videos. We finished it up with the Granddaddy video, the collection video that has all of the interviews, test tracks, outtakes, all the bonus stuff in there as well. So the booth interviews are all alphabetical and have links to all of the particular businesses there. So it's a nice way to be able to just chop through, get what you want. We also have that playlist that I put together one at a time of all the different interviews, all on our Laid Back Bike Report YouTube channel right here. So we'd appreciate it if you have a look at all that stuff and give us a little thumbs up when you have a chance. Now, our next Laid Back Bike Report is going to be December 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, we'll let you know what that's all about as soon as I figure out what it's going to be. Okay, can we bring Honza back up? Maybe I'm going to decide what it's going to be after I see these polls, Honza. I don't know. Let's. So yeah, this is a little clunky, and we had a few comments about you can only choose one, and really that's not a great way to be able to answer the question. But let's look at these, and then Hans, I'm going to let you get your idea about them. Let's see. So they printed the first one. Here we go. Which recumbent channels / news do you follow regularly? Laid Back Bike Report coming in first at 83%. That's not a surprise. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Recumbent News in second place with 5%. This is not a great look, but I don't think it's also accurate at all. Bent Rider Online at 5%. Utah Trikes YouTube at 5%. I mean, that was 18 votes. So it might be a bit skewed and, of course, a bit biased since the people watching are obviously watching the Laid Back Bike Report. So, yeah, there you go for that. Let me end. Let's see the second poll. So we'll it'll, I think, print out the answer to it. Here we go. So a good question for both of us. What topics would you like us to cover? We got 17 votes altogether on this one. All right. So coming up in the lead, more bent touring stories. That's music to my ears. That's a lot of what we do, and you too, Hans, I think. Do-it-yourself projects, 35%. Tech news, 17%. And reviews of bent products I put in there, which you didn't say, but I just threw that in there. That got 5%. Maybe that's why you didn't put it in there, Hans. So there we go. And I also got a couple of comments here. I thought one you might have seen on the chat, maybe you didn't. Daryl Jordan says, Hans, if I want to send a question, do I send it to Recumbent News or AZUB? You can answer that.
I did.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, every time it's AZUB related, send it to AZUB. If it's Recumbent News related, send it to Recumbent News.
Makes good sense. And Daryl also, he reads the news on lunch break and then watch YouTube at home, which is great. I mean,
that's nice.
That makes good sense as well. So that there. All right, Hansa. So I guess your reaction or any other comments you want to make on this?
Well, that's it. I think the first one, obviously we are watching Laid Back Bike Report, but if before people realize they can choose just one, they chose the first one, and that
could be
that was it. Then it was like counted their vote. So yeah, I probably, this was just a quick idea, the easy way to do it live here today when we have enough time, or we had enough time for that. But I should spend some time and put it on Google Forms or whatever, and ask people those questions via my own article. So we'll see. If it happens once, we can bring it up again next one of the next shows, and we'll see.
That sounds good. All right, Hansa, thanks again for joining us, pal. I always appreciate having you on. It's always it's great.
Thank you very much as well.
Okay, great. All right, guys. So how can you support the Laid Back Bike Report? Well, you can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and click the little white eye. It will take you to the laidbackbikereport.com website. And if you're there, you can buy a hat. You can see what our past shows have been, see what's coming up. Lots of stuff there, including joining our Patreon supporters here, like you see right there. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. All right, let's have the crew back on. And so I will be able to thank you guys and Armin as well. Thanks for joining us live. The crew, great job, guys. Really appreciate all your help as always. So we will see you all next time. And besides thanking the crew, I wanted to thank all of you as well, the viewers, for watching and supporting us every month. We really, really appreciate that. So until our next webcast, from all of us here at the Laid Back Bike Report, so long, Bent Riders.